Hello, and welcome to the Learn JavaScript series. In this video, we're going to discuss the basics of JavaScript variables. Variables are one of the foundational pieces of any programming language, so learning how they work is extremely important. Let's get started. A variable in JavaScript is a named reference to a value. Variables can contain many different types of information, but in this video, we are going to discuss three basic types: numbers, strings, and booleans. A number is exactly that, a number. It can be a positive or negative, a whole number, or a decimal. Examples of numbers are 15 or negative 10.5. The next variable type that I mentioned is a string. Strings are pieces of text, either long or short. When defining strings, the text needs to be wrapped in either a single or double quotes. Examples of strings are Matthew Wolf. The last variable type that I mentioned is a Boolean. Booleans only contain two possible values, true and false. Booleans are also useful for testing conditions in code, such as if a user has logged in, if they're an admin, or if they've selected a checkbox. Checkboxes are perfect examples of Boolean values because they're either checked or unchecked. In other words, they're either true or false. There are more advanced variable types, such as arrays or objects. Arrays are list-like structures, and objects are structures that help model real-life objects. I'll go into further depth on these variable types in a separate video. When creating variables, there are two methods that I'd like to discuss. The first method is using the keyword let. The let keyword lets us declare a variable that can change over the lifecycle of our program. For example, if we created a variable called counter and had a button that, when clicked, incremented that counter, we'd use let when defining that variable. This lets JavaScript know that our variable is likely to change its value. The other method of defining variables is using the keyword const. The const keyword, short for constant, restricts the variable to a single value when it is defined. This means that over the lifecycle of a program, that variable cannot be assigned a new value, and it cannot be changed. At first glance, this sounds restrictive, but it actually allows us, as programmers, to reason about our code in a much simpler way. We can read a program containing const variables and be relatively certain that a variable will not inexplicably change. If we define a variable as a number, it will not transform into a Boolean or a string. In fact, it will not change at all. Using const is a great way for defining values that will never change. Examples of this are US drinking age or the first month of the year. That wraps up this introduction to JavaScript variables. As always, the description of the video will contain a link to a code sandbox that contains the code that I've written. Feel free to take a look and to play around with it. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I hope you have a great day.